Hi, let's talk about rosin. Are all rosins created equal? Some may say yes. I don't think so. You might see this rosin in your case. A lot of times it's included in beginning outfits because it's very cheap. It doesn't cost anything for the manufacturer to put this in there, and it will work. In my experience, though, it's too hard. It doesn't really apply well. You have to get a paper clip or something and scratch it up just to get it to start to powder. And plus, at least for me, you have these annoying sides where when you're rosining, sometimes it scrapes the strings, and I don't like that. And you're limited to just sort of trying to create this one channel. So the good news is buying some nice expensive rosin is just not that expensive when you consider how much you have to pay to get a nice violin or bow. Spending 12 or even 10 bucks on rosin is a bargain. And there are all kinds of professional rosins, and they come in cakes shaped like this, round. And the nice thing about the round cake is then, as you apply the rosin, you can daily or every time you rosin sort of change the angle. That way you can use the rosin evenly and not create those grooves, and then your rosin will last a long time, years, unless you drop it and it will shatter immediately, and then you have to get new rosin. And we violinists come in two types, the ridgers or the non-ridgers. And some people still like to create a groove. That way they can just rosin with abandon. You don't really have to think about your bow skirting off the edges of the rosin. So there's sort of two techniques for rosining, really not important. Some violinists, some of my colleagues, hold the rosin in the left hand, and with the right hand, you give long bow strokes like this. Sometimes people do it the other way, holding the bow in the right hand and then getting the rosin and rubbing it on like this, almost like they're scrubbing the countertop. There is no one technique. Now the question is how much do you rosin? And really, if the hair on the bow is clean, in other words, you haven't touched it a lot so it doesn't get oily and greasy, then occasionally rosining the bow will be sufficient. And I would say, again, if the hair is clean and the hair is relatively new, you've had it rehaired in the last year or so, then just rosining, and I would say 4 or 5 good swipes about every maybe 3 or 4 times you play is plenty. I don't rosin very much at all. Sometimes I might go a week or 2 without rosining, and I have enough rosin on the stick. Now you can over rosin, and you'll know if you've over rosined when you play and you hear a real grainy kind of an extra surface noise, extraneous sound to the bow, then you probably have too much rosin. If you see a cloud of rosin dust spring up in your face when you're playing, or you have a big cloud of rosin on the violin after you play, then it's probably too much rosin. And then lastly, if you're looking to buy rosin, you might notice there is dark and light rosin. Violinists, we prefer the lighter kind. It's a little cleaner. It powders nicely when we play. We still have a real clean sound. And again, what I mean by clean sound is we don't have that sort of extra rosin noise to the string. And then the lower stringed instruments, like cellos, use dark rosin because it's stickier, and they have big thick strings to make vibrate, so they need something that causes a little more friction, and then bass rosin is something different altogether. So I personally, if you're wondering, I use Bernadelle, and we have no corporate sponsorships. Bernadelle doesn't know I'm alive. And you can order this easily online, but this is my favorite kind of rosin.